was great. Obviously, a great win on Saturday. To achieve the outcome that we worked hard to obtain, and a lot of good. And as I always say, there's a lot of areas to improve. All correctable things. I think our offense continues to play well. Wasn't perfect, but had some good explosive plays in the pass game. NC State did a good job of not allowing us to get those explosive runs that we've gotten the past couple of weeks. They did some good things up front, and I think we ran for 140-something yards, but we didn't have that explosive one. But it was good. It was a good overall performance. We got to be better in short yardage and goal line situation. Those are things that we've been discussing, and how do we find a way to truly improve in that area, schematically and execution. Defense probably played its best game all year, and it's no secret formula. As we continue to say, is the answers lies in the work. It really lies in the work, and the game plan, the teaching, the practice, the studying and preparation that our players put into it, and then the execution on game days. That's the formula, right? And we have to continue to do that. And then special teams continues to make an impact on the game, and they're doing a great job. And the plan to impact the game, the buy-in from the players and the coaches, and the way we practice. And so it was good to see. We've got to continue to do that. It's great to have Noah back. Good to see him make those 2 field goals and, gain some confidence. And, he's continued to feel more and more healthy, and we need him. We need him to be healthy for us. And so, unfortunately, just, yesterday found out that Ashton Craig will be out for the remainder of the season. So, he had a right knee injury, and Phil, your thoughts go to the young man that worked so hard from last year after 3 games to get himself back into the position he was in this year, and was playing extremely well for us, and just unfortunate for him. He's in great spirits. He'll, get healed up and look forward to the return of next year. He'll be ready to go. He's got the right mindset, and so just feel bad for the kid, but we'll be good. We've got to continue to move forward. And so obviously we have a great challenge that lies ahead in Saturday in USC. 5-1 team, talented, well coached. They're playing well. Their offense is, I think, number 1 in the country in yards per game. And it's a balanced attack. It isn't just one-sided, not throwing it for they're just throwing it or they're just running it. It's a true balanced attack. They're doing a good job in both phases there. And, it starts with their quarterback, who's playing well. He's not taking many sacks. Credit to the O-line. He's delivering the ball, making good decisions, not turning the ball over. He's playing well. And number 6 is I've respected him from last year, seeing him. Like, he's a dude. He is a good football player, tough. Plays the game the right way, and then the wideout number 8 is a great player. So they got weapons all over the place. I know they lost a couple running backs, but the guy at 30 came in. He had some explosive gains, and no offense is running for that type of yards without having a really good offensive line. And so it'll be a challenge for our defense, and their defense is an aggressive attacking unit. They're getting pressure with 4 guys, and I think they're 5th in the country in sacks. Their D-line's really good, and I think they forced 11 turnovers, which is top 15, top 20 in the country. So they're playing well on both sides of the ball. They're a confident team, just had a big win over Michigan, and so we got to continue to focus on what's important. That's the preparation. That's what's important, is the way we prepare for this opportunity we have on Saturday, and we'll continue to do that. So with that, we'll open up for questions.
Front row on the right, Pete Sampson.
Marcus, when we asked you about C.J. Carter, you mentioned his competitiveness a lot, which is something you also mentioned with Riley Leonard all the time too. So as competitors, are they similar? Are they different? How do you think that fuels C.J.'s sort of growth?
Yeah. I would. There's some similarities, but there are also some different. They're different people. Both have a burning desire to win. They both hate losing. Both have a unique ability to make those around them better. Skill sets might be a little bit different, but their makeup, there's a lot of similar traits. That's why they're both really successful.
We asked you in the summer about the state of the series with USC, so I'll just ask you again since it's game week. Like, what are your thoughts on kind of where that is right now? And there's any chance you'll share those with Lincoln Riley pregame at the 50-yard line? No. Only half joking about it.
Yeah, I know our leadership administration and their leadership administration are talking to try to find a way to extend this rivalry. And so I'm confident it will be extended, but it's not. I don't have any proof that it's being extended right now, but I know there's discussions, and hopefully we can continue this great rivalry. Focus right now for me, obviously, is this one that we have. That's the only one that's guaranteed, and put everything we got into this one that we have.
Front row on the left, Tyler Horka.
Coach, going off of that, I know it's not your focus right now. You're focused on the game, but in the offseason, how involved are you in those conversations about keeping something as special as Notre Dame and USC going?
They asked my opinion. It's very clear. Let's continue this thing, and that's it. Like that, they handle the rest of it, right? As we, from Pete and Ron Paulus and our leadership, they'll handle the discussions with them. But they know the head coach of this football program desires to continue this rivalry, and it's not just because I'm at Notre Dame, right? It's because I think it's great for college football, right? I think the rivalry between Notre Dame and USC is a great rivalry and one of the best, and I think it's great for college football and the two institutions to continue this rivalry.
Joe Otting's being put in a pretty big spot now with the Ashton Craig injury. What's the confidence in him? And then there's another guy who's obviously a play away as well, and Cam Herron, according to the depth chart. So just the overall situation at center right now.
Yeah. Otter's been practicing well, and in his opportunities up to this game has done a really good job. And then in his plays that he had in this game, he really played well. I probably had more confidence watching, evaluating this last game when he had to step up and go in there and get his job done, and he did a really good job. So there's a lot of confidence in Otter. Joe Otting, Cam Herron's done a really good job of developing as a young player, and in that whole O-line room. But there's a lot of confidence.
On the right, Tim Priester.
Coach, I know you feel like we're always trying to get you to point to the moment when something turned around, one particular thing. So I'm not doing that. But I did want to ask you about the broadcasters were talking about tackling Tuesday, when that was emphasized even more, and what impact do you think that's had on the improvement of your defense?
Yeah, it's something that Coach Ash kind of maybe termed tackling Tuesday, but it was just an emphasis at some point during the practice on Tuesdays, during the individual period. Each group has to get a version of live tackling. Like, we have to be very intentional about this period. We have to get live tackling. Like, you only have a certain amount of individual time that you can work in practice, and the emphasis can only be on a couple things. You can't emphasize everything. And that was something early on this season that Coach Ash said, hey, we need to emphasize tackling more. We're not tackling well enough in the game, so the only way to really work on that is in practice. And that's just a great reflection of the things you emphasize in practice. You usually show up in the game, and I know a lot of people say, well, why don't you emphasize everything, right? And you can't. You don't. There's just not enough time. What we got to continue to do is carry over maybe things that we aren't emphasizing every single day into the game, because you can only, if you're going to put an emphasis on something, there can only be a couple things. And we know we got to emphasize those things for this next opponent, but even the things that maybe we're not just only emphasizing that for the week, we got to make sure we're doing that on Saturdays too.
And as it relates to the NC State game, I thought just observing it looked like you had, in terms of cutbacks with Smothers or even their quarterback, it looked like you guys were ultra prepared to prevent that from happening. Was that an emphasis last week?
Yeah, that was a huge key to victory. Each week each phase comes up with 3-4 things that we believe are the keys to achieving victory. And we knew we had to really affect the quarterback in the pass game, but in the run and scramble game. We had to make sure that we kept our lanes. When he was reading an end on a zone read play, we had to have our guy in a good position. And Smothers is as good as anybody we will see. And we knew we could not. He was going to make some people miss, which he did. But we had to gang tackle, we say. We had to pursue. So if he made one guy miss or two guys miss, there was a whole pursuit of defenders going after him. And we did a really good job doing that.
On the left, Tyler James.
Marcus Mackay Lemon for USC does a lot of his damage out of the slot for them. What's the challenge of defending such a prolific slot receiver?
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges. You know, you want to play zone, he'll find a way to find open space, and they'll attack him. If you want to get on body, is what we call it. You know, he can run by you, he can make you miss. He's quick, he's fast, and he's got great ball skills. And so there's not a simple answer and solution to defending him. What you can't do is let him beat you, right? You know he is one of the most talented players you'll see. You know he's a huge part of their offense. So you got to make sure you have a plan to try to not let that one person beat you. But when you do that, you're going to open up some deficiencies in other areas, right? Some holes in other areas. And so we just got to do a good job mixing it up and making sure pre-snap they can't just identify if we're in zone or man just by our pre-snap alignment.
And then you've been pretty aggressive on fourth downs continually, season to season. As you get farther in the season, you learn about your team in terms of how successful they are going to be at that. I think you're 3 of 10 with the first team offense right now on fourth downs. How does that input decisions moving forward, the previous success or lack of success this season?
Yeah, going for it on fourth down is something that, you know, I have conviction in doing in certain situations. You know, some will determine based off maybe our kicker, some's based off the analytics. But we got to continue to gain conviction in me from our offense. And that's why we spent some time talking about our short yardage plan and, you know, our goal line situation plan, is because we have to continue. I don't want to lose confidence in going for it on fourth down. That's something I believe in the right situation. So I don't want to pull back there. I want to say let's enhance our plan so that we have a better percentage of converting.
Front row on the right, Eric Hansen.
Coach, I wanted to circle back a little bit about the nickel matchup and your level of confidence with Dallas Golden if he has to play a lot at nickel, and also your level of confidence with maybe moving Leonard Moore around to accommodate that.
Yeah, I had a lot of confidence in Dallas. You know, he played really well. You look at the entirety of the game, obviously the explosive for a touchdown can't happen, and he knows it, and we got to keep playing with the proper technique. And but he's getting better, and you know, we have a lot of confidence in him if he has to be out there. And obviously, I have confidence in Smitty, and then we got to just make sure we have a good plan, right? If that meant moving Leonard Moore there, it means moving Leonard Moore there. But you also know that, okay, you got a lot of confidence knowing Leonard Moore is at corner, right, and that side of the field being taken care of. And so, you know, it's always like, do you rob Peter to pay Paul, right? And we just got to make sure that we have a great plan. We can't be insane either, right? We can't just let the same thing happen and say, maybe next time. Like, we got to have a really good plan and know, kind of think how they're going to try to attack us too.
And then I wondered, with Chad moving over to USC, what the recruiting rivalry is like. It's always been there with USC, but if it's a little bit spicier, where he's saying it's really snowing in South Bend all the time, 8 months a year, but just, and how important California is for Notre Dame in the recruiting picture.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time. Our focus has to be on selling Notre Dame, you know, and I don't know what people would say against us. Maybe they do say that, but if snow's going to prevent you from coming to Notre Dame, you're probably not the competitor that we desire to have here, right? And you know, it's a factory. Yeah, sometimes it gets cold, but it's pretty nice right now, you know. And that's the only thing that I'll say about the weather, I guess. But California is obviously an important state to us. You know, we've had a lot of success there, and we have to continue to have success there and all over America. All right, we got to find the best players in the country, and I always say that fit this place. And there has been a lot of players from California that have fit this place, that have done a really good job at Notre Dame, and we got to continue to find those guys and convince them why this is the right place for them, all right, why this is the right place for them. There's a lot of guys that have been in their positions that chose Notre Dame, and look at the success they've had. But you got to understand why this is a special place to attend.
Up the middle, Sean Stiers.
Hey, Marcus, you talked the other day after the game about, sending clips to the conference, the ACC, whoever, to look at, different reviews and stuff like that. I'm curious what that process looks like in terms of, how soon you get the feedback back, how detailed is the feedback you get, and maybe how often you hear, hey, we missed this one, or, that kind of thing.
You do. So, I mean, we usually get the response back by Wednesdays. But, it can be as black and white as saying we agree with why we called it and here's what we saw, or, no, you're right, we missed it, right? They own it. If they missed a call, they'll say they missed a call. And then some is, here's why we called it. We can understand where you're coming from, but here's why we called it. And there's got to be some human element to it, too. It's not perfect, right? We want our officials to be perfect. They're not perfect. We want our players to be perfect, not perfect. But it's the dialogue and the clarification, I think, that's more important than anything, is the ability to say, hey, we got it right, and this is why we got it right, or we got it wrong, and we own it, and we're apologetic about it, and we'll try to be better. And so that's kind of how that dialogue goes.
And then when Charles Jagasaw broke his arm this summer, I think the initial prognosis was maybe late October, early November. Just curious kind of where he is, if you anticipate him, getting back, and what his impact maybe could be.
Yeah, he had a follow-up surgery a couple weeks ago just to, clean up some things in his arm. And it's going to be a process to get him back, but he is making positive strides. He will return at some point. I just don't know when it's going to be. Right now, he's just every day in that training room, in the weight room, trying to get stronger and healed up. And so when we find out that he's ready to go and can help us, we'll obviously utilize that information and make some decisions from there. But right now, he's just in the process of rehabbing and healing up.
On the left, Pete Byrne.
Hey, Marcus. Last couple weeks, your offense has been incredibly efficient in the second half of the games. And I'm just wondering if you could take us through some of the reasons why you feel that might be, whether it's halftime adjustments or perhaps conditioning, anything that might play into that.
Maybe that's a positive thing. Maybe we are well conditioned, that we're playing better in the second half, We'll give Lando a shout out for that. But I think more than anything, when you look at the outcome, right, after the game, you look back and say, okay, we're playing better in the second half. But why, right? What is going on in the first half that we're not having success? And I think each drive, each play tells you something. I think as I look at the first half of this past game, 3 of those drives had penalties that we had to punt, right, or we didn't score. A couple false start penalties. We had a holding penalty on JD Price. Like, those penalties put you behind the sticks, and now it's hard when you're playing good college football defenses to be behind the chains, 1st and 15 or 2nd and 20, and expect to get a first down. And so we have to clean up those penalties that beat Notre Dame and stay ahead of the chains. And then, we got to convert when it's a 4th and 1, 4th and 2 situation, and we want to extend this drive in the red zone. We got to convert. And so it's more plays. It's like, why didn't this play work? Why didn't we execute here? Then I think it is a half problem.
And then I know you can't control how your opponents are playing week to week, but you only get so many opportunities to face top 20 programs and have the type of opportunities you have this week. You had a few earlier in the year. Does that kind of heighten the way, it doesn't change the way you prepare about it, but do you recognize that maybe the opportunity is heightened a little bit in a week like this because of how they're coming in playing?
Yeah, we understand the challenge. I think any natural competitor understands, like, when you got a team that's playing as well as USC, they're 5-1, as talented as they are, like, man, it's a great challenge ahead of us. And we got to be, hopefully, people that understand every opponent should make us feel that way, but you don't have to tell yourself that when you're playing this opponent. You know the challenge you have, and you don't lack motivation, right? The competitive juices get going, and my message to the team is going to be, like, use that competitive juice. I have it, right? As you think about Saturday, use that to continue to remind you to prepare in a way that gives you an opportunity to have success. That's got to be the thought after the thought. Anytime we think about this opportunity we have on Saturday, the second thought has to be, okay, let's use that to prepare now. What can I do to give us a better chance to be successful on Saturday? And so, yeah, I mean, competitors want to play the best, and we got one of the best coming in.
Front row on the left, Jack Sobel.
Coach, you mentioned that the NC State game was probably your best defensive performance. When you look at the numbers in that and the Boise State game, a lot of them are similar, not just in points allowed, but in, like, the havoc numbers, picks, sacks, et cetera. Where did you feel like the defense made progress from last week to this week?
You know, I thought what I really was pleased about was after the touchdown drive. You know, it could have been, here we go again. It was there were some adjustments, right? How we called the game. But it was like, hey, we're good. Here was the issues. We know what happened. Let's get them corrected, and let's go out there and play with confidence. And the second half, the ability to take the ball away, I think we gave the ball to the offense twice inside the 20-yard line, and then you get a safety. Like, now those are explosives for defense, right? Just like on offense, you're efficient, then you create an explosive play. When you're starting to take the ball away, you're starting to get safety, you're winning on third down. That's when it becomes a dominant performance. And so I wasn't talking as much about the yardage, but really the ability to dominate. That second half was really pleasing.
And then K.K. Smith catches the touchdown this week. I'm sure he didn't play as much as he would have wanted to in the first few games, but what did you see from him getting that opportunity, and what can he bring to the offense moving forward?
Yeah. You know what my answer is going to be. It's called delayed gratification, and you work while you wait. And so if you just wait, you ain't going to get an opportunity, right? And if he was just waiting, that opportunity would have came and gone. But he was ready for his opportunity because he works while he waits. He didn't play as much as he wants. Nobody plays as much as they want. You know how it is, unless you play every single snap. But you got to continue to work while you wait. You embrace your role, whatever that role is on Saturday. You say, this is my role. I'm going to give everything I got to accomplish this role. That means KK might have played 2 plays or he played 20 plays. I don't know how many exactly he played on Saturday, but this is my role, and I'm going to get it done. And if you have that buy-in week 1 through 5, okay, week 6, all of a sudden an injury, you got a greater role. Now you're ready to maximize that opportunity that's presented to you. But if you just wait on it, it's never, ever going to come. And if it does come, you're not going to take advantage of it. And that's, we said the same thing about Carson Hobbs last week. It's like you have to work while you wait if you understand what delayed gratification is all about.
Up the middle, Molly O'Malley.
Coach, USC had a great performance against Michigan this past weekend. What's going to be the number one thing to focus on in practice this week to come out strong and execute right away and avoid a slow start?
Yeah, we got to have a great plan on both sides of the ball. Our openers on offense got to be good and efficient, right? We got to execute on our openers defensively. We got to be able to have a great plan, but be able to adjust with urgency to whatever they're doing. And then we got to play with clarity, and we got to go play hard. This game's going to be about velocity, all right? And you know, I often say we got to get bloody. Like, it's got to be that type of mindset. This got to be a physical, bloody game that isn't about, how can we outsmart them. This is going to be how do we out-physical this group, and how do we play with a mindset that to win this game it takes. And so starting fast it's an outcome. It's a reflection of getting your job done on the first play and doing it with relentless effort and attitude. That's what starting fast. You just do that consistently, and then all of a sudden after the game we'll say we started fast.
And then how does the mindset change to get it done on the first play coming into the game?
You focus. You focus in the week. You focus on the moment, right? And in the game, you focus on the moment. That's the mindset you got to have. Like, is my mindset right now in practice on how important this play is, or this period is, or this drill is? And then you take that mindset as you go into Saturday and say, okay, on this first play, am I thinking about the outcome of the game, or am I thinking about the only thing that matters is getting my job done on this play? And that's the mindset, and that's the work you got to do. It's a lot easier said than done. Everybody can sit here and say, oh, yeah, it's easy, just stay in the moment. We're all human, and our minds drift. We think about things that aren't really important right now in the moment. And so you got to train your mind to do that. You got to train, and it's human to have, I always say, it's human nature to drift. But if you can catch yourself drifting and get your mind back into where it's supposed to be right here, right now, that's how you train yourself on Saturday on that first play to start fast, that you're focused on what your job is in that moment.
Staying up the middle, Tim O'Malley.
Coach, quick question of, obviously, your young quarterback, shotgun his whole life. What are some of the challenges of getting C.J. Carr, any young quarterback, under center in short yardage situations? Is it practice time? Is it trusting the situation? And is that an option at times in those very short yardage situations?
Yeah, if we thought going under center in short yardage situations was the answer, we would do it, right? If we said that's the reason why we're not converting, then you're insane not to work on it and practice it. We don't believe that's the reason why we're not having success as much as we want in those short yardage situations. But it's a lot easier said than done to say, hey, go under center, take a snap, if you don't practice it, right? You have to practice that QB center exchange. We practice snaps, obviously during practice, but pre-practice every day. Like, and you would think, like, it's so routine just to snap the ball to the quarterback. Like, every day we do QB center exchange. And so if you want to go under center, then you better practice it every day.
This is kind of a follow-up question to that. This would have been a very strange question to ask you because you have Jeremiah Love on your team if we asked in August, but now it seems we could ask. Jabron Payne, 2023, was your short yardage back until Audric took it. Aeneas Williams contributed to that last year when it wasn't Riley. Is that something where you guys have been heavily looking at, or clearly Jeremiah Love is not the issue either, but those guys have proven they can do it in the past as well.
Yeah. It's not a shot against Jabron or Aeneas. Those guys are fully capable of going in there in short yardage situations and executing what they're coached to do. But Jeremiah Love and J.D. Price are fully capable of executing what their coach asked to do. It's not that. It's that, okay, we got to have a better plan. We got to have a better plan offensively in those short yard situations, and we will, right? And then, I look at both fourth down plays that we had in the game. They probably had a better call defensively than we had offensively, right? We run a sprint out. They had a good defense for that. We got to make them work. That's the other side of things. We tried to, run Malachi on a crack and go, and they had him covered. We thought they were going to be coming up for the run and try to get Malachi behind them. They covered him. We got to make it work, all right? And that's the next challenge. We're going to do everything in our power to scheme things that can help us to have success. But at some point, you got to make the plays work, and that's what we got to continue to focus on.
Second row on the left, Mike Berardino.
Marcus, just a couple weeks ago, we were asking about Sam Pittman, job loss, and then 9 months ago, you were sitting right there with James Franklin, and you guys played this great game in the Orange Bowl, and then he's out. What's your reaction to maybe that, and then just overall the amount of churn at the head coaching level in college football this year? Is it tied to the increased stakes with the revenue sharing, the win now mentality? How do you all process that as head coaches in this era?
It's a lot of questions in one, but let's start with James Franklin. Again, I have a lot of respect for any coach, but what he's done for college football has been tremendous, and you never want to see somebody fired. As a head coach, right? I'm a head coach, and you're going to be okay, right? You're going to be okay. You feel awful for the people that come and join you that are going to be out of a job too. There's a lot of people affected, a lot of families affected. Like, if if Pete said, Marcus, you're gone tomorrow, like, it stinks because I love what I do and I love coaching these young people, but I'm going to be okay. Like, but you feel awful for the people that have joined your program and their families that don't have a job at the end of the year. And so that's what's challenging about that. And it's a reminder to, listen, don't ever get too comfortable. I mean, you're just in the college football semifinals last year and had a heck of a team. And I don't know what's going on with Penn State. I haven't watched any of their games. And, you lose 3 and that's it. And so it's a challenging profession. It's a reminder to be grateful for the opportunities you have. But, again, each administration will make their own. Penn State made their own decision, and every administration makes decisions based off what they think is important. And so I think that's – what else did you have? Did you have something else?
That's more than enough. You're right. I asked about 4 things.
Yeah.
As usual. Jadarian has had 2 fumbles now, on the doorstep of the goal line. The first one, CJ recovered. You guys fumble so rarely. I wonder if that's something where you just sit down with him, make sure his head's in the right place, make sure it doesn't become mental, because that's like the Louisville one too. It's so rare for you guys to fumble. How do you help him through that?
Absolutely not. We don't sit and say, hey, don't fumble. Like that doesn't work. You identify what happened. You fumbled. Why did it happen? There's a reason why it happened, and then you attack it. All right, that's how you fix the issue. You don't say, don't do it anymore, like you do with your kid. Don't do it. No, why did it happen? JD, we're going to watch to see why did this happen. It's cause and effect. And then we're going to attack it in practice. And we're going to drill it. And we're going to do it so much that hopefully you don't do it again. But if you do, then we got to continue to drill it, right, and to practice it so much that it doesn't happen. And so things don't happen by chance. We gotta continue to work that and make sure that we're intentional about stripping the ball out in practice and making sure our ball security is at a premium, because we can't turn the ball over in crucial situations like that.
Coach Freeman, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good week.